How to create a PractiCAD command automatic. A command automatic in PractiCAD is an automatic that allows us to repeat the tasks of typing in the AutoCAD command line, all with the touch of one click. For example, if we were to highlight this grill and we wanted to change the color of this grill through the command line, we would come into the command line as we're going to do now. We're going to type in the word change. We're going to hit the space bar. We're then going to type in the letter P and hit space bar. We're then going to hit the letter C for color and hit space bar. And then we're going to type in 50, which is the color for yellow, and hit space bar once and then a second time. When you do that, AutoCAD has just changed the color of the object through the AutoCAD command line. Now, PractiCAD gives us the ability to do the exact same thing, but through a PractiCAD automatic. To create a PractiCAD command automatic, we must first go to the library icon on the PractiCAD ribbon. Unlike other automatics, there are no command automatic icons in the automatic panel. We have to create them here under the library icon. We're going to maximize our screen, then we're going to come to the left in our browser. We're going to scroll down to where we get to automatics and open up our selection, and then click on the word command for command automatics. When we do that, we must now click the green check, create a new item, and PractiCAD is going to create a new command for us. Before it does that, it's going to ask us for the BMP image. We're going to select one we'd like to use. This one's coming out of the default PractiCAD BMP database. We're going to press open. And now we're simply going to name the command auto. We're going to call it command auto for this tutorial. We've hit enter, and now we're going to look at our two options. The first section we're going to focus on is what we type in the command line. Essentially, what we do is we type in the command line here inside the command automatic section, whatever we would type into the AutoCAD command line to get AutoCAD to perform a specific task. In this tutorial, we're using the task of changing the color of an entity. And what we had to do in AutoCAD is we had to type in the word change. So we type in change. We then hit the space bar. So we're going to hit space bar here. Remember, most of the time, the space bar will mimic the enter key inside the AutoCAD command line. So we typed in change space bar. We had hit P for properties, space bar, C for color, space bar, typed in the number 50 for yellow, and then we hit space bar twice. So we're going to hit it twice here. So what we've done here is when we go to save this PractiCAD command auto and we run it, PractiCAD from left to right is going to type in all of these commands very quickly, and then AutoCAD is going to perform whatever function it was that we just told it to do so. So in order to run this, we're going to come over here to the left where it says command auto. We're going to drag this into our bin. We held down with the left mouse button and pulled it in there, and we're going to exit out of the library section. Here on the drawing we have another grill. We're going to highlight that grill, and all we're going to do is go to the automatic we created, command auto, and click once. When we do that, AutoCAD now runs through all of the functions that we told it to. And if you hit F2 and we take a look here at the large AutoCAD command window, you can see that we're running the change function. Then we're typing in P for properties. Then we're typing in C for color. Then we typed in 50. And then, of course, it's using the space bar to mimic enter. So all you need to do to automate an AutoCAD function is to run through it once in the command line, write down all of the characters that you'd like to utilize, make sure you've got the order proper, and make sure you write down all the returns you need, enter key, space bar, all the characters, and then simply string them along and put them into a PractiCAD command automatic. The next thing we're going to show you how to do is how to mimic the enter key on your keyboard. Currently, we were using the space bar in the AutoCAD command line to mimic the enter key, and most of the time this will work. However, sometimes you must physically hit the enter key to get AutoCAD to jump to the next part of the command. In this particular case, we must use a symbol to mimic the enter key in the PractiCAD command automatics. For example, we're going to exit out of the AutoCAD text window. We're going to click on our GRD. Currently, you can see that we are on the layer miscellaneous text. However, using nothing but the command line, we're going to move this grill back to the ML grid layer. you can see that the name of the layer is underscore ML underscore GRD. So what we're going to do is come into the command line. We're going to type in the word change, and now we're going to hit the space bar. We're going to hit P for properties, space bar. Here we're going to type in LA for layer. You can always tell what the command is because it's capitalized. You see here, to switch it to a layer, it's LA. So we type in LA space bar. And now right here, AutoCAD in the command line saying to enter the new layer name. And we're going to put in underscore ML underscore GRD. And that's the name of the layer. Now here's where the problem would come in. If I hit the space bar, each time I hit space bar now, AutoCAD in the command line thinks it's part of the layer name. In other words, there is no way for us to jump to the next part of this command unless I physically hit the enter key on my keyboard, which I'm going to do now and hit enter. Now what we do is we can hit the enter key again, and that actually took this GRD and it moved it to the ML grid layer. So once again, using nothing but the command line, we were able to perform the function move to another layer, but we were not able to do it without the enter key. In this particular case, we must use a special character that MetaLab has added to the system to mimic the enter key. To demonstrate this, we're going to design the PractiCAD command automatic that would do exactly what we did in the command line. However, we're going to use the special symbols to mimic the enter key. So what we're going to do is go into the library icon on the PractiCAD ribbon and go back to our AutoCAD command automatic section. And what we're going to do here is simply open up our browser, and now we're going to edit this from the beginning. We're going to type in exactly what we typed in to mimic the command move to another layer. We have to type in the word change spacebar, P for properties spacebar, LA for layer spacebar. Then what we did here is we had to name the actual layer. So we're going to go underscore ML underscore GRD. Now it was at this exact moment where we were not capable of actually using the spacebar for enter. Here we are forced to physically hit the enter key. So what we've done in MetaLab is we've made it so that if you type in two characters /n, both of them, anytime /n is typed into the PractiCAD command line, it's going to mimic the enter key. So we actually needed two of them for this, so we're going to go /n again. So what's going to happen when we run this PractiCAD command automatic is it's going to rapidly put in change, spacebar, P, spacebar, LA, spacebar. Then it's going to type in the name of the layer, and then it's going to hit the enter key twice. So now we're going to save. We're just going to exit out. We've already dragged that command into our bin, so we don't need to do it again. And now what we're going to do is simply move this to a different layer. Right now we're just keeping it on the ML supply. And now we're just going to, while this is highlighted, run the command auto once. When we click one time, you can see that it's taken it and it did move this entity to the ML grid layer. And if we hit F2, you can see once again what it did. It came and it first went into the change portion of the automatic, and then did the P for properties, it did the LA for layer, it typed in everything we needed, and what you don't see here in the text window is that it's using the enter key. And it did it twice because we did /n. So anytime you put /n, it will mimic the enter key. You can utilize that virtually always. You don't actually need the space bar. However, you have the option to use both, but when you've got to use the enter key, /n. The last option to cover in the PractiCAD command automatic section is the option to skip if selection is empty. Now the only real way of showing you what this is used for is to design an Ultimatic that consists of a PractiCAD command automatic and run it with it checked and without it checked. And we're going to do that later in this tutorial. However, if you have not watched the tutorials on how to create Ultimatics, it is going to be a little difficult to follow, so I recommend you watch those first. To explain verbally first what it's for, if you run a command line auto or type anything in the command line in AutoCAD, and that command doesn't have anything to apply to, in other words, there's no selection set on the drawing, and you run a command auto, AutoCAD's going to stop it because there's nothing to apply it to. And when you're creating Ultimatics with multiple automatics and multiple PractiCAD commands, what happens is at any point, if a PractiCAD command automatic is used and there is no selection set it can be applied to, AutoCAD essentially ends up stopping our Ultimatic right where we're at that point. And we really want it to go to the next selection set. So by checking this option, it will move it forward. And we're going to demonstrate this shortly. Generally, leaving this option checked is usually never a bad thing. Therefore, every single default PractiCAD command auto has the option checked already. To demonstrate why skip if selection is empty can be a very important option to check, we have designed an Ultimatic called Zone Color Change. Here you can see we're under Ultimatics, and we've got a Zone Color Change Ultimatic design. We're going to click on it. There are 4 automatics that are part of this Ultimatic. The first one is a simple selection automatic called Select Duct Supply. And we're going to hit the button here, edit the selected automatic so we can see what's in there. If you look inside this automatic, it is simply a selection automatic where we select fittings on the entire drawing, and the condition is that zone must equal supply. That's all that automatic does. It highlights the fittings on the entire drawing if the zone equals supply. Now we're going to back up with our browser to go back into the Ultimatic, and we're going to look at the next one. The next one is just a simple AutoCAD command automatic called Change Green. It just changes green whatever's highlighted on the drawing at that time. In other words, whatever the current selection set is, the AutoCAD command will apply the Change Green command automatic to that selection set. And you can see here by clicking on Edit the Selected Automatic that we've just got the simple example we used when we were showing you how to create a PractiCAD command automatic. So it's a simple automatic that's going to change the color green. Now we're going to back up. The other 2 automatics you see here, Select Duct Return, is the identical selection set as the first one, Select Duct Supply, but it only grabs ducts on a drawing if the zone equals return. And this is simply an AutoCAD command stating to change the color red. So it's a PractiCAD command automatic that says change everything red. So if you were to read in words how this Ultimatic should work, first automatic should be fired onto the drawing. PractiCAD should highlight all the duct on the drawing where zone equals supply. And that duct should now be currently selected. Then the next automatic, the PractiCAD command automatic to change the color green, should change whatever is highlighted from this auto green. Then what happens is after this is fired off, the next one kicks in, which highlights all the duct on the drawing where the zone equals return. And then whatever's currently highlighted from that automatic should now be changed red by this command automatic. And we go over how all this works in the tutorials for designing Ultimatics. Now what we're going to do is we're going to exit on the drawing. And before we do it, we do want to point one thing out. Both Change Green and Change Red, these command autos, have the option to skip if selection set is empty unchecked. They are not checked. So what happens is we're going to exit out. We've got 2 pieces of duct on the drawing. The first one is in the zone supply. The second one is in the zone return. Now the way this automatic should work is it should simply highlight everything on the drawing that's supply duct first, change it green, then highlight everything on the drawing that's return zone and change it red. So what we're going to do is fire off this Ultimatic called Zone Color Change. And when we click once, we're going to do it now, you can see the video grabbing one at a time and changing the color. So what did it do? It highlights all the duct on the drawing where zone equals supply. That's this one piece. That now becomes the current selection set. Then it fires off the second automatic, change whatever's highlighted green. Then it grabs the third automatic, which is highlight everything on the drawing with zone return. Then it grabs just this duct. Then it changes whatever's highlighted red. So the Ultimatic worked fine. However, what happens if we undo what we just did and we delete a selection set? In other words, we take the duct here, that supply, and we delete it. Well, what's going to happen when we go to run the automatic now is PractiCAD's going to fire off the automatic that says select duct on a drawing if zone equals supply. And it's going to grab nothing because there is nothing on the drawing now with zone equals supply. And then it's going to kick in the second automatic, which is supposed to change whatever is highlighted green. But because there's nothing highlighted, when that command automatic gets typed into the command line, AutoCAD is going to find the selection set empty, and it's going to stop our Ultimatic right there. It will never be able to go to the third line of the Ultimatic that says highlight all the fittings on the drawing with zone equals return and then change it red. And you're going to notice that right now we're going to fire off this automatic by clicking zone color change once. And you can see that we're stuck. It never completed the Ultimatic. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a simple change to the command automatics we just used. We're going to go into the library, and then we're going to go into the section where we can change the option for skip if selection is empty. So we're going to click on change green. We're inside the Ultimatic. We're going to click on change green and we're going to say edit it. And we're going to check the button skip if selection is empty. We're going to hit save. Then we're going to come to the browser and we're going to back up. And then we're going to go into the command automatic change red. And we're going to hit edit the selected automatic. And we're going to check the option here. So we're now adjusting those two automatics. Now, by adjusting this simple option, we're giving permission that when PractiCAD fires off the AutoCAD command automatic to change green or red, if there is nothing on the drawing that's selected, we're giving PractiCAD permission to jump to the very next automatic on the line. So what's going to happen now is we're going to exit out. We've only got one duct on the drawing. It's in the return zone. We're going to fire off the automatic zone color change. PractiCAD's going to use the first automatic and say select all the duct on the drawing where zone is supply. And there's going to be nothing there. Then the second automatic is going to say change everything green that's highlighted. And there's going to be nothing there. And though AutoCAD's going to stop right there, PractiCAD, because we have the option that says skip over this command automatic if there's no selection set on the drawing, it's going to go to the third automatic on our list and it's going to highlight the duct that's in the return zone, and then it's going to fire the fourth automatic that says change it red. So right now we're just going to click on this button once, zone color change, and it runs through the whole sequence, and you can see now it completes the second portion of the Ultimatic even though the first portion had no selection set. So it is a very subtle option, but it's very important most of the time to keep it checked, because some of the Ultimatics you're going to build are going to be very long, and they're going to consist of AutoCAD or PractiCAD command automatics, and those command automatics are not always going to have a selection set on the drawing. So you don't want the Ultimatic to stop. You want it to keep moving forward. So you keep those boxes checked.